Hi, this is Deborah Christofferson. I play Sue Blevins on 911. You're listening to Fandom Family Chats.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Fandom Family Chats. I'm Jeanette.
I'm Tiffany.
And tonight we're going to be discussing 911 and then The Resident a little bit later on. But 911, this is season 6, episode 5. And the first call on this one just cracked me up. The 911 call for the home invasion that turned out to be a raccoon. So that was entertaining.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, I really thought something major was like, I don't know. I didn't know who I thought was in her house. And then even when like they, she got startled I was like, oh my gosh, did he kill her? Like I was really terrified.
Mm-hmm.
And then they show up and, I loved it. Buck went and found the little guy. He was so cute too. I was just like, oh. But like, and just the thing, I mean, the raccoon, he came through like the dog door that, I guess she told her husband they didn't need anymore.
Why would you keep a dog door when you don't have a dog?
Yeah. I guess you did at one time maybe and just never got rid of it. But I'm like, dang, I never thought about that with like a dog door. So remind me to never do that because I would die if I found like a raccoon in my pantry like that.
Kind of terrifying thinking about everything that could come through the dog door, honestly.
Yeah. But thankfully the lady was okay because I mean, like I was like, oh my gosh, this poor woman, like be taken out by a raccoon. But she was good.
Really be scared of raccoons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then like they got the second call of the guy, which turned out to be her husband, at the same address. And this time, I mean, it really was someone like breaking in. And I mean, the whole time I was thinking to myself, because I was like, oh, yeah, we gave them the gate code because I remember Josh asking for that. So I was like, oh, this is gonna be what happened. But how crazy that, I don't know. That was wild. But that one was worse. I mean, that, he actually got shot. And
yeah, pretty bad too.
Yeah. And I mean, it was, I don't know. I also wish like all these people would just stay. I mean, like they were telling you to like stay put and you guys want to just like roam around your house when you think there's someone who's broken in, which I think is really dumb. Like, let's just, find a closet, man. Like get in there and just wait for help to show up.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be walking around my house if I knew someone was robbing it.
No, especially, I mean, the house is huge. Like, it's going to take you forever to get to the front door and try to get out of there.
I'd get lost on the way out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then we had one more call that we responded to. And this one, the poor brother trying to help his sister out with fixing up her house and the insulation. That was scary though. Like I was thinking to myself, like, oh my God, he's gonna suffocate in like insulation. And
he had the best of intentions. It just did not go very well.
He did. I feel like that's an activity that should be supervised. Yeah. So I'm not really sure. I mean, even if she was just standing at the bottom to like he could holler down and need help. Like, where was she during all of this? Like, that's what I couldn't figure out. Like, were you in the house and you just waited that long to like help him? Like, I mean, the insulation was coming down the attic stairs.
He definitely seemed like he was alone, which was, first mistake there. That was dumb.
But I mean, of course I knew it was going to go badly as soon as I saw like that, like it get kinked up right there. I was like,
yeah.
I mean, clearly didn't read the instructions or listen to the instructions very well of how to do this.
Let's just keep turning it up more.
Just keep hitting the button because
that makes more sense. Sure. Good plan.
But her poor house destroyed, absolutely destroyed. Which maybe not a bad thing because at the end of it, Buck and Eddie and whoever the other people were, I wasn't really concerned with them at all.
Other people standing there.
I'm like, I think I said this in the chat. I will destroy my whole house if Buck and Eddie are going to show up to like help me put it back together.
Yeah.
It's worth it. But yeah, so like there's those robberies that have been happening, they notice that there's a lot of these happening, like at the same addresses where we previously had like the 911 calls. Um, and so that's interesting. And of course, Athena and I want to call him Mike. I know his name's not Mike, but it's because I watched The Fosters and I've been watching it. But the other detective, we hadn't
Yeah.
seen him in a while, so
Mm-mm.
he's back to help Athena like try to figure out what's going on with that.
Can't think of his name either.
I don't
It
remember.
might be Mike. I'm not positive,
I
honestly.
mean, all I can think of is Mike, and that's because we've been watching The Fosters around here. And so I'm like, that's his name over there. That's all I can think of.
It was pretty smart of her to catch on to that. All the calls or all of the robberies were happening at houses that just contacted 911.
Mm-hmm.
I like how she like enlists Maddie's help
Mm-hmm.
and they, go kind of undercover
Mm-hmm.
to get what's his name? Oh my gosh.
We're not good at this tonight.
Where are we?
He's new. He's only been in like 2
Yeah.
episodes. I mean, I think it's okay that we don't remember his name. But I was so nervous, like poor Maddie, when she was like, "Oh, I accessed all the
Yeah,
calls."
right.
I was thinking, "Oh no, like this is not looking good for poor Maddie." I mean, obviously we knew it wasn't her because Maddie would never do anything like that.
No. I mean, obviously she
actually,
wouldn't look up who the call
right,
logs were in front of the 2 detectives waiting
right.
for her.
Like,
Like,
it was
oh,
me.
it's me.
I actually called it last week though. Amanda and I, when we were talking about the preview for this episode, Amanda had said how she liked the new guy and she was excited. And I was like, do we think it's him? And poor Amanda, oh God, maybe it is. So I'm like excited. I like it when I can do my police work and I like figure things out before they happen. So
He
called
has
it.
always felt sketchy to me since he started.
Mhm.
I
Well,
just, something felt off about him.
well, typically we don't like we have like Josh and we have Sue, like we have some like minor players at the call center, but we've never had more than one main character from the call center. So I was like, yeah, he's not gonna be around long.
Mm.
Like that's just not how they do things,
This sucks too because he was a good guy, it
Yeah.
seems like, and he was actually really just trying to help his family.
Mhm.
He just went about it the very wrong way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I get the sentiment. I mean, like
Yeah,
your
I mean, I
family
did
owes
feel
money,
bad for him when they were walking him out in the cuffs, and you could tell that it got to Maddie too. But
Mhm.
had he
No.
come to her for help, she would have helped him.
Yes. Yes. And the thing is, like, I mean, the only other, I mean, you used her login. So, I mean, like, she was kind of, I mean, it was looking like it was on her. So I don't blame her. Like, it's me or somebody else. Like, sorry, like, you're going to have to go down on this one.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
Definitely not taking the fall for that.
No, absolutely not.
My gosh, and poor Maddie. As if that was not enough to go through this week, she hired like psycho nanny to watch after their daughter. This woman is freaking crazy.
Yes. I mean, would I love someone to like make dinner and like help me out with some stuff? Absolutely. But like when you're like, I mean, like when Tim walked in with his shoes on and she was like, oh, like this is my house. If I want to walk around with my shoes on, I'll walk around with my shoes on.
Mhm.
It's not up to you. So she took it just a little too far. A little too far.
Yeah, if you have to hide in your bathtub just to get away from your nanny, that's probably the point that should tell you something's not right
Mhm.
here.
And what was it when Tim came in there? He was like, how long have you been in here? And he just hopped right in. I love how she handed him the glass and she just continued drinking out of the bottle. Like, there you go. Join me.
Oh, I love them together. I'm so glad they're back together.
So glad for that. Absolutely. But yeah, obviously that wasn't gonna last long. And I liked how she, would they say, rehomed the nanny?
Yes.
Yeah, you gotta go. But the nanny, I mean, she wasn't the only one to get rehomed this episode. Poor Hoover, I think, made it to everyone at the 118 at one point or the other.
I feel bad for Hoover. Like he was so cute, but man, he was ornery.
He was. But I mean, like, they didn't act like he hadn't been doing this at Bobby's house, right? Like, he
Not
was
that I
happy
saw.
there. He wasn't destroying anything at Bobby's house. I mean, the only reason they had to get rid of him is because Athena and May's allergies, which
Mhm.
that was sweet of Athena to not even tell him at first because she said he looked so happy with the dog. I'm so glad I'm not allergic to any animals. Like, I feel like I just have to take allergy medicine and just roll with it because I wouldn't be, I don't know, that'd be tough to not have any.
Mhm. Yep, I do.
We just roll with it.
I used to get allergy shots weekly just so I could live with my animals.
Oh, do you not have to anymore?
Um, well, I stopped doing it. I would actually be able to breathe a lot better if I did it. I just
Oh,
don't. I just take a lot of allergy pills now.
yeah, that would stink. Yeah. I had a friend though that was allergic to cats, and so she would just, but my cat loved her. So she would just pop an allergy tablet before she came over to my house every time. Like,
Mm,
"Hey, grab a Benadryl and I'll be over in a minute."
yeah, I've felt bad for everybody's houses.
Mhm,
Like I get you feel bad for this dog, but at some point
mhm.
the dog's gotta go.
Yeah, I mean, the dog, I mean, he had, but if you think about the fact that he came from like a busy sorority house, he was probably never alone. So
Oh,
he probably did have like separation anxiety in, being by himself and kind of destructive.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that
Mhm.
makes sense. He probably was never
Yeah.
alone there.
But I had to laugh at the first, even before they saw him like destroying stuff at Hen and Karen's house when they were trying to have some adult alone time together and the dog. I'm like, I mean, yeah, always in your business. Like, can you go somewhere else, please? Like, we're just trying to spend some time together. And Hoover was like, nope, nope.
It's funny. Lock him out. Nope, that didn't work. Let him back in. Right on the bed.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. No, this isn't gonna work.
He was like, all right, let's go to bed then. He destroyed their stuff. So they took him to Eddie because, Christopher needs a dog. He also, and Christopher was one that said, I think he has separation anxiety. I believe he does. I believe he does.
Yeah.
And so where'd they take him? To Buck's house. And of course, that wasn't going to work out for him either. So I think he tried to take him to Chim's first, and Chim was just like, nope,
Yeah, that's right.
we're not doing that.
The nanny said nope.
Which Chim was perfectly fine with that. You could tell he was like, no, I'm cool. We don't need the dog. I mean, he was never going to work at Hen's house anyways, just because, I mean, she has like so much going on. We got to see like from last week where she spoke to her doctor and got to do those clinicals to see if she was going to pass and finally get to be a doctor.
It was okay. While I am really sad that she won't be working with the team anymore, she just kicked butt this week. It was so great watching her do like her
Absolutely.
clinicals. I would love to watch her do that. She would be
Yeah.
such a fantastic doctor.
I wish we could somehow like let her be a doctor, but like still keep her on the show. I mean, I know there's no way
Mhm.
to do that, but I mean, couldn't we follow like a couple like calls onto the hospital to see like Hen? I mean, what's wrong with that?
I would. I would watch that.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It stinks that, I'm so happy to see her like be able to do this, but she's gonna have to leave us.
And everyone was so proud of her though. It was
Yeah.
so great watching everybody just be happy for her
Yeah.
and how happy Karen was for her.
I know. I mean, I think I'd be happy too. Like, wife's gonna be a doctor? Yes, please.
Mhm.
Right?
What'd she call her? Her hype
Oh,
woman.
yes. Yeah. And I think it just, for me, it didn't sink in. I mean, I've been talking about it on the last few podcasts about this, but like, I somehow was holding out hope that like she wasn't gonna go anywhere. Um, but I mean, she's got to, right? I mean, like, I know we haven't officially like, but I mean, here they had her a big party at Bobby and Athena's to congratulate for her, and I don't know. So I
I
think it's
don't
just,
see any other way she
yeah,
could stay.
yeah.
So, like, I'm thinking that Hen is leaving.
Hmm.
But then you see the preview for next week, and it sounds like maybe Karen might be the one leaving.
I don't know. That shocked me. And I
Mhm.
really don't think that we will kill Karen.
I
I
don't know.
mean, I hope not. I mean,
Can you imagine what that would do to Hen? My
yeah.
God, she loves her wife to pieces. Like, she's the most important person to her.
And I know, and and if that happened, would she still go on to be a doctor, or would that be too much happening? I mean, imagine those hours. Like, how would that even work with Denny at that point? I don't know. I
Mhm.
hope we're gonna save Karen, but that looks like a wild episode. I love those kind of episodes though, so I'm excited for it because I mean, when we watch these kind of shows, like these rescue type shows, like I want there to be like major things happening sometimes because that's where you get the drama from. But then it stresses me. So I don't know. But I'm excited for it, I guess. But as soon as like that preview came on and like we hadn't seen Karen's face yet, but I heard the voice, I was like, oh God, that's Karen.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no, like I was so nervous. It looks like a big explosion, like at her lab. I totally forgot what she did for a living until I saw that.
Yeah, I didn't even think
Well,
about it.
it's because she on Station 19, she's a therapist. And so in my head, I just had it that Karen was also a therapist, but she's not. That's just her role on Station 19. So I didn't think about that. So I was like, oh yeah, she does. She's like a scientist or something, right? I don't know. But that looks, I mean, that's gonna be exciting. Not
Terrifying.
sure because I've heard no confirmations on either one of them officially leaving the show. So it'll be interesting to see. Or at least I haven't. I mean, and I don't think
I
anyone.
saw something in the group. Someone posted about the actress that plays Karen.
Mhm.
Something she put on her Instagram made it sound like a goodbye post.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping it wasn't, and it was just like this was a fun whatever post.
Yeah.
I don't want to see her go because I love Karen.
I don't either.
She
Of course,
makes
I mean, I
Hen
guess
better.
if Hen's gonna leave, I mean, we probably weren't gonna see Karen anyway. So it's
That's
like, well,
true.
we don't need to kill her. Like,
I know, right?
it's unnecessary. Unless that somehow is like a way to keep Hen on the show. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens, but it looks exciting for sure. That's basically it for 911. This episode, and that's how they usually do things on the show. I feel like there's like episodes that don't have a whole lot of stuff, and then we get hit with this really big one, which is what makes me think this next episode will be.
Hmm.
So we'll see, but I guess now we can move on to talk about The Resident, and Maureen will jump on and join us for that one.
Hello.
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 But this episode of The Resident, this one was I liked that we started out with like Conrad, and we all know how amazing he is. And clearly his patients do too. Because this guy comes in and he spots him from across the room. And in my, because it's me, and I'm thinking, I mean, if I saw him there too, I'd be like, nope, nope, only he's going to treat me. Bring him over here. No one else is allowed to touch me right now. So I was like, I fully support this statement.
Poor Irving. I think he thought it was kind of against him at first, but he's like, yeah, well, I guess.
I mean, it's Conrad. What are you going to do? We love Conrad.
I do like that this episode was Irving heavy.
I did too.
Now, if we could have one that is Nolan heavy, I mean, how many times we got to say it, people? You did it. Clearly, you listened to us a little bit because you brought one of our side characters to the front, and we love Tasso.
Yes,
we love Irving.
That for sure.
So it was really fun to see him interact with everybody, including Conrad. I like that little conversation he and Conrad had. Because I mean, it's true. They don't even in all the medical dramas we watch, the ED doctors don't really get. Wait, is it ED on The Resident, or is that just Chicago?
It's ER on The Resident. I'm pretty sure.
It's I'm binge watching Chicago Med,
yes,
so
Chicago
everything's
Med.
ED.
Yeah.
But I mean, they don't, because you just treat them and they leave. And I mean, if it was a miraculous save, maybe you'd get something for it, but
it's true. I mean, like, you don't get to spend that much time with them. And I mean, I think especially on the resident, because I feel like, I mean, on Chicago Med, I feel like they do a little bit more because I mean, it's, you know, they get more invested. But I never thought about that in that way, that like Irving, you know, he's just
Yeah.
treating them, you know, Hunley, everybody there, they're just treating them, they're out. Whereas Conrad and, you know, used to be Devin would get to spend more time like actually like being their doctor, helping
Yeah.
them, you know, what's going on. But you know, that's what we found out with Conrad on this one, that I mean, he saved his life once before, and found something, you know, that pretty big.
I don't know about you, but if there was a metal rod sticking out of my back, I don't like, I have cancer, okay? I know what it felt like to go there and be like, oh crap, they're gonna tell me it's cancer. I get it.
Yeah.
But if there's a metal rod sticking out of my spine,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it looked at.
The only thing I thought, like at first I was like, okay, well maybe because he kept talking about like his fiance, maybe like in my head at first I was thinking, well maybe he just found it and he just wanted to like get married and like have that part, you know, like over. But no, I mean it sounds like it's been there a while, like, and you're telling me
2
even the
years he's been with
fiance,
her.
you've seen that band-aid on his back every day for a year and you, or 2 years, and you didn't question it? Like that seems a little odd.
She did
in my
question
opinion.
it.
But she never made him look at it. Like I would be like, let me see. Like,
Yeah, probably at some point you want to see it.
but I'm like demanding and controlling like that. Like, I mean, I wouldn't let it go. I would just rip the band-aid off sometime when he wasn't looking and be like, I want to see it. Like, which I feel like she should have, because then we could have
Well,
taken care of
clearly.
it sooner.
But I mean, he told her that it had to stay covered to protect him from what he had. So
that long,
he
though.
instilled fear in her. Well,
That's
I
a
mean,
naive statement.
A
I think.
band-aid? What's the
it
band-aid?
is, but
gonna
if
do?
she doesn't have bone cancer, bone cancer is a serious thing and it affects your bones, and there's a spot where bone is.
See, I
And
don't
he's
believe that kind
instilling,
of stuff.
if he's instilling fear in her, right? I mean, because it had to be right from the jump that he's telling her
Yeah.
this.
I'd
So
be
he just put
Googling
fear in there right away. Well,
myself, and then I'd be
probably.
like, oh, you're wrong. Okay, I looked this up and it doesn't need to stay
She was
covered.
pretty
So let
mad
me
at
see.
herself though.
I know I shouldn't be giving her a hard time. I feel bad for her, but
And maybe she was also afraid.
yeah, true.
I mean, I think it's stupid to gamble with your health like that. But I mean, I get that fear that's gonna stop you. Like, there's a part of us that of us humans that is the completely dumb and stupid and moronic part. It's like, well, if they don't
Mhm.
tell me bad news, then it doesn't exist.
Right.
Because
Right.
we're idiots. And
Yeah.
that's what this guy was. I mean, he went through the worst. Bone cancer is the scariest cancer you can get. I mean,
Mhm.
it's very hard to and very painful to get a bone marrow transplant.
Yeah.
He already went through that once. And so I think he just wanted so bad to believe he was healed. I mean, look at Conrad too. I bet Conrad wanted to believe it.
Yeah.
My heart broke for him on that final scene.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And I mean, even Conrad and Billy had that big long discussion about denial, and like I really thought we were gonna like
Gee, I
have
wonder
a
what Billy was
moment.
talking about.
I think he was talking about it too. Like I'm telling you all, I think he has feelings for her as well.
He
Because
does.
I think I think he's afraid to say it because he feels like that's betraying Nick. So he wants her to tell him, and I think then he will feel like it's okay to like, I don't know. He was wanting her to say it in this
Yeah.
episode, and she never did.
And the way he honed in on that, like his head whipped to her so fast. Like, what are you denying? It's so fast. And it was so instantaneous. And even the way I don't think she expected him to dig deeper, because I think she has this idea, oh, he's head over heels, absolutely fallen in love with Kate, and there's no hope for me. I think that's what she's convinced herself, because she's afraid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this episode was as much about fear as it was about denial.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that they both do have feelings for each other. And I think that they're both convinced of something that's inaccurate, which is crazy because Conrad's a fantastic diagnostician, can diagnose anything from mere sight alone. And Billy can fix anything almost by just staring at it.
Yeah.
And neither one of them is believing the right thing because they are so afraid.
I
Yeah.
will admit, I did see a spark this week.
Mhm.
This was the first time I saw it, but I liked it.
We need more of that for sure.
I think the first spark I saw in them was this season, or the first time I felt like, okay, this could work. And that was the episode where they were in the elevator. When
Yeah.
Conrad was talking to her. I'm like, oh, okay,
More
okay.
than the first episode of this season, for sure.
I know it's
Um,
it's weird to me still. But
Man.
anything's better than Cade. Almost
Beautiful.
a duck would be better than Cade.
A duck.
It was the first animal that came to mind.
That works. Yeah.
Tears tribute.
But
Same.
I hope that they keep, because I'm kind of enjoying watching them figure that out. I think I think it was good writing this episode. I enjoyed how they were subtle, but giving us enough that we're satisfied with it and making us kind of burn for them a little bit.
I love a good slow burn, so
Mhm.
I'm cool with it. Not too slow though. Like,
Well, I don't think they are moving too slow. I think it's kind
I
of
think it's
satisfying
perfect.
to watch Conrad grapple with his feelings for Billy.
mhm,
It's humanizing Conrad. I mean, we've kind of hold him up as this mythical creature who can do all things,
mhm.
but he's afraid, and it's humanizing to watch him, that fear play out on. I mean,
Yeah.
when he was talking to Billy about denial, there was
Mhm.
fear playing out on his face.
mhm.
And it was gratifying to see that. And I think it makes it exciting to watch it.
I think he's gonna press the issue with her too,
Mhm.
because he really wanted an answer from her that she wasn't giving.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I want him to, because I think I would rather see him be the pursuer than her be the pursuer, because he's the one in the relationship. Like, I don't want to see her have to like chase after him, like what it looks like, and steal him from Cade. Like, I don't want to
Mhm.
see that.
Yeah.
I want to see him realize his feelings for her and pursue that.
Mhm. I would like to see her give him subtle encouragement here and there, though.
Yeah. But mostly because I miss like when you think back to like early Conrad and Nick, of him being that like flirty, like I want to see that again. And so, because we definitely don't get that with Kate. There's like
No.
no flirt, there's no chemistry, no spark. There's
It's
absolutely
pure
nothing.
safety with Cade. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get hurt, so this is what we're gonna do.
Even their hugs look awkward.
I know. I do think though that it was helpful too to have Conrad talking with his fiance, with the guy's fiance, whose name I cannot remember. What is his patient's name?
I can never remember the patient's names.
I don't remember. But I think it was eye-opening for Conrad to see that this was hidden from this person, and because it was hidden, he lost everything. And
Mhm.
to see that she didn't pursue, she just accepted a bogus answer that
Yeah.
shouldn't have been relied on out of fear. So I think that was really, again, it was smart writing. It wasn't just good writing, it was smart writing. The stories were done smartly this week, and they were done well because they use all these different avenues, not overtly, not that makes it cheesy like it has been in the past, I don't know, like 8 or 9 episodes. I know we're only in episode 5, but coming off of last season,
Mhm.
it was done well enough here that you could see, and again, I know they're fake characters, but you could see the wheels in Conrad's head turning, and
Mhm.
that's the way Matt played it out. And
Yeah.
it was good to watch that happen. It was good to watch him realize that. And it was even Billy, it was brought so far to Billy. He confessed these things to Billy as he was grasping it, and then Billy understood it. And so I think if they keep playing it out like this, it's going to be fun.
Mhm.
I did like that Conrad didn't push one way or the other too for the surgery.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he
And-
let her make the decision. That was,
Mhm.
what needed to happen.
And I was proud of her too, because at first I was like, oh man, she's gonna let him die. But then I was like, oh man, she's gonna have him do the surgery. So I didn't know. But what
Yeah.
she said was, and you could tell she was sad, she said, it's what he would have chosen. And what a hard thing to do. I'm sure there was no situation she could have planned for that would have made her happy, I'm sure. But to look at it, to be able to cut yourself out of it when you are the one who's still thinking, and to do what they would do, that had to be really hard for her.
Yeah. Yeah. And how did that okay, forgive me how did that even end? Like
He
we
died.
know if he's okay? Did
Yeah.
he die?
Yeah, there was, you
Cut
see
that out
Conrad's
then,
face at
I'm
the end.
stupid.
You see Conrad's face at the end, and then you see her packing up his room. And
Mm.
and it was interesting because if you notice, the things she's packing up, they were all black, but he wasn't
Oh.
wearing all black clothes. So I think it was a
No.
subtle way to be like,
Yeah.
yeah, death.
This is what happens when I multitask, because if it was happening without words happening, this is why I missed it.
And that was when Conrad
was
was
just
emotionally
quiet.
staring into the room, and then Kate hugged him because he was
Mhm.
sad.
It was a whole quiet scene.
Okay.
I thought it was even that I thought was well done, especially with like the
Yeah.
black things that she was packing up. She was in
Mhm.
all black
Mhm.
too.
I teared up at that scene.
Mhm.
It was
Yeah.
very well done.
Why do they gotta zoom in on Matt Zucker's face when he's got sad face on? Why do they gotta do that?
It's so good though. Like even though
It
it's
makes,
sad,
it
but
makes me so sad.
hmm,
I mean, that's why they do it, because it makes you sad.
His
But
face is
what they
so
want.
pretty.
I don't like seeing Matt Zuckery sad.
yeah. It
Making
was
myself
tough,
emotional over here.
though. Sorry.
My Logan.
Yeah. Not Logan, Conrad.
I know, but he's my Logan.
I know. He'll always be our Logan, right? But I mean, like even like Devin and Irving's case this week was pretty tough too. That guy, like that guy was wild.
Bit of
I
a
will,
zealot.
he did look good for 72 though. I was just like, wow, okay, like 72.
Probably because he's
whoa,
not
like, that's-
72.
I know. Like there's no way. I think I even did look up that.
Which
I
you
was like,
look
okay,
up.
I gotta know how old the actor really is.
That's what I'm doing now.
Not 72.
He was born in 1960. So he's 62.
Okay, so he's 62.
That's, he still looks really good for that.
Yeah, for 62, I think as
does.
well. Okay.
So I mean, that guy, he does look great for his age. And I like how they use Conrad's special case to start. I want to call him Tasso. Irving. I
Irving.
don't remember
yeah.
his name. To start Irving going down this way. And it was nice to see Irving take part in that. And I got all excited for a minute because Jessica was like, oh, is that something you want to pursue? I was like, oh, he's gonna do this and we're gonna see more of him. And he's like, oh, I'm happy. Like, oh.
I don't know. I think there still could be a chance though. I think
Oh,
he
there
was really
is, for sure.
intrigued by this. So I think there's a chance that he'll want to do this.
And maybe they'll not treat him like Conrad, because I don't think anybody can diagnose like Conrad, but utilize him a little bit more to help figure out these cases. And what I did notice though, is they give him and like Jessica and our background characters that we love, give him a lot of cliche, kitschy lines.
They do.
Mhm.
And it was hard to watch this episode a little bit, but Tasso made me laugh a lot when he looked at when it was Devin and Marco and Irving. I gotta stop calling him Tasso and Irving within that room, and they're all talking about what great things this could do. And Irving was like, "Yeah, I just want to live forever."
But you know
It's
what?
cracking me up the whole episode with that.
Because I feel like that definitely fits him. Like
Mhm.
absolutely. Like I mean, that just felt like something Irving would say. Like, no, I just want to live forever. Like I'm not worried about
100%.
anything else.
But
Yeah.
then we also got the vulnerability of him saying this week,
Mhm.
"I'm scared."
Yeah.
And that's not something that we address a whole lot in the doctors. We kind of see these people, especially in The Resident. I think we all kind of see them as invincible. Very
Mhm.
rarely do they fail.
Yeah.
And so to have one of them who we love
Mhm.
admit that and talk about mortality in a real and relatable way, it kind of made me love his character a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we see them working together this whole week, and I think they did well working together. I think that Devin and Irving make a good team. I think Devin is so serious, especially lately.
Uh-huh.
I think he enjoys having Irvin be there to lighten him up a little bit. Because I
Mhm.
mean, Devin likes to laugh, he likes to smile, but
Yeah.
his workload is heavy. His burden is heavy.
Yeah.
And so I think him working with Irving could be a real thing.
Yeah, no, I
And I'm
think
here
so
for it.
too. I definitely want to see more of that. I mean, I really do think we're gonna head that way because this season alone, I feel like we've seen more Irving than
Mhm.
we've seen like all the other seasons combined.
Yep.
So I'm excited for that.
So I'm going to go ahead and take credit for that. For us.
Okay.
I mean, not just me. I mean, Fandom Family Chats.
Have it, yeah.
And what I would like to put out there is, can we get a Devin, Nolan, Irving thing going for the rest of the season? Like, let's dream team right there. We got a surgeon, we got an ER doc, and we got a research doctor. Like, let's make that happen.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be
Let's just-
great?
even if we just saw more of all, like we've said this over and over, even we just saw more of them like outside of the hospital,
Mhm.
like just hanging out. Let's
Yeah.
go back to the bar and play darts some more or something. But like, I need Nolan to be there too. Can you imagine? He's got to be the best person in the world to hang out with.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know? Yeah,
Endless opportunities to make fun of that man. It would be fantastic. It's great.
absolutely.
But this guy, back to Marco, I mean, he did watching him do. I was thinking that as he was doing push-ups, I was thinking, man, he's pretty winded for being as in good shape as he is. What is that about? Because that's what I sound like after doing 4 push-ups.
Well, it's like, okay, I understand you're 72 and you're in great shape, but you're still 72, sir. Like
Exactly.
you're still set. You may be very fit 72, and that's
Mhm.
great, but like just relax. And you could tell poor Devin was just completely irritated with the whole thing. He was just like, I'm so over this. You could just tell.
Devin is too nice to be subtle. Like
Mhm.
when you're being subtle and you're Devin, it just comes off as invitation for more. It doesn't come off as I'm done with you.
I know.
When he was like, that concludes the tour of the hospital. Like he's not done with you, Devin.
Yeah.
Sorry, my guy.
I know.
But I did think that it was crazy to me having gone through chemo. Crazy to me that this guy regularly takes a chemo drug.
I thought about you when I was watching this. I was like, I wonder what Maureen thought of it, because I don't know what these are like, but I mean, I was thinking about that.
I mean, I don't know why you would do that to yourself. I mean,
Well, I mean, even the metformin, okay, because I took that for a little while. I had
What
some,
is
like what they
that?
call insulin. It's to treat either diabetic, like if you're
Oh, yeah,
pre-diabetic
that's
or
right.
like insulin resistance, which is what mine was for a little while, was just insulin resistance. So not like, but like it has some really unpleasant side effects, and that's all I'm gonna say about it.
Mhm.
Side effects that I don't think anyone wants to have. So I'm
Mhm.
not sure why he would do it.
And that on top of a chemo drug. And obviously it's a lower dose of chemo, so it wasn't what I had because
Sure.
my dose you could only tolerate once a week.
Right.
And he said he takes all of these things every day. And
Yeah.
how long has he been doing this to himself? How long have you been taking all these pills every day?
Well,
Like, I
you've
just-
heard, I mean, all the things that are happening to his
Yes.
body now. I mean, kidneys shutting down. I don't even remember the whole list. Like, this is what you've done to yourself. Like, wow.
And I mean, yeah, you might live a bit longer, but is your quality of life great? Because it doesn't, knowing what those drugs are, it doesn't seem to me like it would be that great.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, ooh,
Yeah.
gross. And I think it was nice, again, in him, it was nice to see that vulnerability because this story had the potential to be too fantastical.
Mhm.
And they could have taken that way because listen, I love The Resident, but the past, like, I don't know, 8-10 episodes, it hasn't felt right. This season, I think they're getting better and better and better as the
They
season
are.
goes. So
Yeah.
I'm excited about this season again. And I wasn't excited at all last year. Like, oh, okay, is this done yet?
Season 5 was a rough season.
Yes. And I
Mhm.
think it was nice to see that vulnerability come back in there where this guy looked at Devin and he said, I just want my life to have meaning. And that it made it more likable and it made you want the storyline more than just a crazy eccentric old guy who's going to live forever like on fame. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. And I think, and I mean, obviously this is leading to, some really good things. Cause I mean, Devin wasn't going to buy into like, let's research how to live forever. But this guy's like, I'm going to fund everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, this helps,
And I did like with Kit too. When he went in there to tell her about this, she was like, oh, great, great. But the moment he said MS research, she's
Yep.
like, oh, hello.
Yeah.
Hold on
Well,
now.
the governor is cutting their funding by 30% or a
Mhm.
third, right?
Yeah,
So
1/3.
we did say that again too, by the way.
I know we
So
did. I know.
You're gonna need this.
Can we just leave that out of future episodes? Like we get it, guys. We get it. We know we don't know what a third is of a hospital bill, but we know that they're cutting it by a third.
Yeah, we know.
We get it's a big chunk. We don't care about it anymore though, because clearly you have Daddy Warbucks who's about ready to give you all you got. So
Oh,
it's fine
good to
now.
go. Yeah,
Can
we're
we
fine.
stop? Although I did love that we transitioned from it was just, and this is again what I think was so good about this episode was the way it all cut together. There were separate plot points in this episode, but they cut it all together really finely. So it just felt like a natural episode for the first time in a long time. So we went from Devin going to Kit and saying this stuff and Kit going home, and there was Belle, who I missed a lot.
I didn't realize I missed him.
Exactly.
She walked through those doors and he was like making dinner, and I was like, look at that man.
Yes.
I was thinking to myself, I wish I could walk through my door and find my husband in an apron cooking me dinner like that. I would be so happy.
There's been kind of a role reversal this whole episode of typical roles, and you see you see Belle cooking, but also at the end I like when Kit sits down in the chair and Belle sat down on the arm of the chair and then leaned into her, and I was like, I don't know why, but I love that. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, I thought the same thing too. I was like, is he sitting on her lap? Because that's freaking adorable.
Yes,
I loved it.
I am a little nervous. I don't know if it's foreshadowing or if it's just something that they were doing. But when she said, and I know it has to do with
tell me
that Conrad had, but you would tell me if there's anything. And she worded it weird too. She said, you would tell me if there's any questions I need to be asking. Like,
yes, I got nervous too.
I don't know that he would know what questions you need to be asking, but maybe tell you if there's something wrong. So I don't know if that's foreshadowing for what's coming down the pike for him. Maybe he'll be a part of this MS trial. That's going to be, this guy is going to fund. I can't get Warbucks out of my name now, so I don't remember what his actual character name is. That's all I remember now is Warbucks. Marco, that's what it is. Yeah, Marco.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's what they're doing, because this MS storyline is not going away for Bell. But clearly he's doing well. Clearly the trial he did went well. Yeah. So, but it's like, I keep thinking of AJ's mom, with cancer patients or with people who are near death, oftentimes right before, I don't want to say that because I don't want that to happen. But right before something bad happens, they perk up and get more energy. So I'm nervous. Yeah. I'm nervous. I don't think they're going to take Bruce Greenwood off the show, but I'm still nervous of where this is going.
No, I agree.
He said he was going to have a really big storyline the second half of the season. So I'm excited to see what that is.
I don't know that that's going to be good. I think it might be heavily focused on him, but if we're getting this guy who's going to fund MS research, I think this might be a not fun thing to watch. I mean, it'll be interesting, and because we love Belle, it'll captivate us. But I think it has great potential to make us very, very sad. Even if it doesn't end in death, I mean, MS can debilitate somebody. And I don't want to see Belle like that. But I mean, the other person who's having a really hard time is, we're seeing the real lives of these people. As real as the characters life can get. Yeah. We're seeing those. And I think that another storyline that they're doing really, really good at portraying the reality of the situation is with Padma and the twins.
That was a really emotional storyline this week.
When they were all like packing up to go, and you could tell that she was so like, I clearly remember, even with my second child, after I'd already done this once before, I remember so very clearly the first day that everyone went back to work and went to school. My mom wasn't there anymore, and just being alone with them. And even though I knew what I was doing, like it's a very stressful, like, because you're still pumped full of hormones. Like, you're having a hard time. You're probably that when I had a C-section, much like she did. So like you're recovering from that as well. And I know they have to get back to their lives, and I get that, but I was a little bummed that Leela, AJ, Devin, you all didn't figure out a plan so that you all could make sure you were actually physically checking on her throughout the day, not just a phone call. Like, just find a way, at least for that, maybe like that first week she's alone with them, that someone is popping in, bringing her lunch, like, just because she's probably not got time to eat, like just something, because all day she was struggling. And every time they would call, she acted like everything was okay. And both of them, both AJ and Leela, you could tell they sort of had an idea when they got off the phone, but then just kind of let it go. Like, oh no, I'm sure she's fine. But you all heard it in her voice that she definitely wasn't fine.
Them I can give a pass to, because neither of them had been a parent. her calling her
Doc-
doctor and not getting
Oh.
any support from her,
That made me
she
mad.
cannot get a pass.
The
That
doctor,
really pissed me off.
I mean, I was so upset because I'm like, okay, yes, is it normal for babies to cry? Yes. And you should be reassuring her of that. I'm cool with you making that statement. It's also fine for you to worry. Like I'm okay with her like reassuring her that all these things are normal. But you should have followed up with more about like how are you doing? Like maybe give her some helpful tips, not just can I transfer you to make your next appointment? No.
Well,
And
even
that
when
lady
Padma
works in the
indicated it.
hospital. Yeah. Well, I mean, and my thing was that lady, you work in the hospital with her baby daddy, her sister, and her basically brother-in-law. Go find one of them and be like, look, I just got a call from Padma. I feel like she's having a hard time. It might be, she might need some extra support here. I mean, you work right there with them in the same
Does
hospital.
she?
Like, go find somebody. And yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, she's the OB. Like, I'm assuming it was the OB that was taking care of her, that, like, was going to do her C-section before she needed
Mhm.
Dr. Sullivan to do it, right? I mean, that's who it sounded like her voice was, that doctor. So I'm like, you work right there with them. Like,
Yeah.
go find somebody.
And
I don't know.
I mean, they did when Padma was in the hospital, they did that rotation where there was always one person there. Like, yeah, we get you have to go back to work, but can there be one of you there at a time? Do you all work the exact same shift every single day? Especially the surgeons, there's more movability in their schedules. So you'd think that be somebody.
And I get like, but unfortunately that's the way it is. I mean, everybody wants to be there like when you're having the baby and like right after, like, and that was something that I remember when I had like, everybody wants to come visit you when you're in the hospital. I don't necessarily need you then. I've got nurses and doctors surrounding me. When I need you is those like few weeks following bringing the babies home. Like that's when I need you to come visit and bring lunch, do a load of laundry while you're here, like wash some dishes, like do that kind of stuff. Let me go take a nap. That's what in my head I was thinking. If I wish she was a real person and I lived in Atlanta, because I would go over there and tell her to go take a nap and I would watch the babies for a couple hours. Like that's what she needed.
And you're going to tell me that the community of people that is close friends within the hospital, none of them had time to step over there. And I think too, the other thing that is hard to follow with is because they keep doing many time jumps because they keep giving us indications by the dialogue. And Devin said, these past few weeks caring for those babies, like how much time has passed now? Like, did she have support and then it was suddenly taken away? Like we need more information here. Either way, if this doesn't seem to me like just simply being overwhelmed. She was in the bath. Oh my God. The music at the end and he couldn't find her. I was really nervous for a minute.
I thought she was gone.
Yeah.
I thought she
so
had left the babies and she was gone.
Because it seems to me like there's a bit of postpartum depression going on, which that's not an unusual response for that. It's not like they can control that. It's not like they want to go. It's not like that. It's that they cannot take it. So I really thought that's what you're going to tell me, that in those few weeks that you were caring for, that no one saw any indication of this. I mean, yes, I know people can hide things, but.
Well, and it also takes a little while to kick in, which is what the thing is. Like when you're like husbands are home or, dads are home for usually the first couple weeks, those are probably good. It's those things tend to kick in after that point in time is when you start to feel. And then imagine when people are surrounded you, you're probably not feeling all this alone and this depression, but like then you're left there by yourself is when I think all of that can hit you. I mean, that's how it was because I mean, like I said, I had this a little bit with it was postpartum anxiety, which is very similar, but I mean, with Shelby, and I mean, this was my second child, so like it was really strange I didn't have it with my first, but with Shelby, I absolutely did. I had to go on medication for a while because I was so angry at everything and I just could not handle anything that was going on, like when I was alone with her. And I'm like, that's terrible. And I felt awful about it, and just like all women do, they don't want to say anything.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, to that point, like with Nora, she was my third child. They had me drinking caffeine because I had a spinal leak and I breastfed my kids. So Nora had a caffeine addiction. And I made the decision to pull back on it because it was upsetting her in a variety of ways. So she went through 36 hours where she didn't sleep. and all
Oh,
she did was
man.
cry and scream, and no one else could touch her but me. And so I didn't sleep for 36 hours. And I remember there being one point where I'm just holding her and I'm crying while she's crying, and I can't do anything, and she can't do anything, and my husband can't do anything. And when people would say, "Can I help?" Well, you can't help me because you can't take this kid away from me. But I have other children. I have a house. I have family that needs to be fed. I have laundry that needs to be done. Padma's house was demolished. And the annoying part to me was it didn't look that much different when they all left. When
Yeah.
Padma was sitting on that table, it was destroyed in that living room. Could you have maybe hired someone to come over and help for the day?
Mhm.
You bought her a condo. Can you hire someone to clean up just for the day?
Well,
Help her
even
not
that, I
feel
mean,
so
like,
overwhelmed.
can we get her a nanny? Because like, I mean, it's not, I mean, you guys are all surgeons, like you've got the money to do it. Like,
Mhm.
and she's got twins
Yeah.
that were preemies. So like it is probably a lot to deal with. Cause I mean, if they're preemies, I mean, Elena was a preemie, they have to eat every so many hours. Even if they're sleeping, you gotta wake them up because they've got
Yeah.
to put on weight. So like she probably had no time to herself at all that entire day.
Mhm.
Like, get her some help,
And I
you
get
know?
that none
And
of
she
them
would
had been
probably
parents
feel good
before.
just having, yeah, and I get that too. But I mean, I don't know. Hopefully we see in the next episode that AJ, like you see now what's going on and like let's make a difference.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think he will be kind of Papa Bear now, because I
Yes.
think he thought, well, that was weird, but I don't think it went beyond that. But now that he saw her and how destroyed she was at the end of that day, I think now his desire is, because it's always been to care for her and the babies. That's always been his desire. So now he's aware of how deep the problem goes. I think he will be more
Yeah.
intuitive about it, and I think he'll be more watchful.
Yeah. And because he had a clue, but I was a little weirded out that like when Leela got off the phone with her, she had a look like she felt like something was wrong. But then when she talked to AJ, she was
said
like,
she
"No,
was
it's
fine."
fine." I'm like, "Aren't you all twins? Aren't you supposed to have like this intuition thing? Like, what's
And
going on
AJ
here?"
was the one who said, "Hey, have you noticed anything? I couldn't get back because I got called to this surgery."
Mhm.
So AJ was trying to get back there, but because of the nature of his job, he couldn't.
Yeah.
And I'm a little disappointed in Leela because he gave her opportunity. He said, "Have you noticed something?" And then she said, "No," when she did. Like, clearly,
Yeah.
you're not stupid, Leila. So you know that he picked up on something. So maybe rehash what you both experienced and
Yeah.
figure something out.
Yeah.
And again, I'm just going to chalk it up to inexperience, not neglect. But
Yeah.
man, she needed that help. And I think the only reason I want to spend a lot of time talking about this is because in our group, people are, and not just in our group, on the internet,
On
social
other, I've seen
media,
other groups. Yeah.
people are upset with her. And I will say that I said all of last season, Padma, having children is not the way to show that you're responsible. There are other things you can do first.
Right.
And I still maintain that. I do maintain that this is way harder than she thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But
I think
still,
it is,
it's,
and that's the thing. I think it's way harder for every single person. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how long you've been wanting kids. I don't care if you already have a child at home. Every single time you bring a newborn home, it is all of a sudden harder than you realize.
it's different every time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I do think that she did kind of think it would be a breeze. I
Mhm.
think she started to think differently once the problems happened near the end of her pregnancy.
Yeah.
And then you could see, and I think that's also what's playing into this, is because look at how they were born into the world. She was stressed out. She was writing a will. She was very afraid. And so she's coming off of that fear to being alone with these kids whose lives are now in her hands. So of course, she's not going to have an easy time.
Yeah.
And I think we can acknowledge that she was a little naive about what this was going to be while still giving her grace to think this is freaking hard.
Yes.
And nobody has an easy time with babies who are newborn, certainly not multiples.
Yeah.
Just
And I
nobody.
think it can be said, like, I mean, and that's just something I want to say, like, even as you get, like, as your kids get older too, I
Mhm.
mean, I love my kids more than the air that I breathe. But there are some days when it is hard and life is hard and I
Yeah.
cry about it. And I mean, things are hard. But that doesn't mean there are times when I need my alone time, when I
Mhm.
don't want them here. I don't want to do these things. That doesn't make me a bad mother
No.
because I still love them more than anything else in this world.
Mhm.
But I still need moments to where I
Yeah.
can like be away from it, and I can like, and I need to be able to vent about when my kids are being jerks. That doesn't mean I
Mhm.
don't love them,
Exactly.
but I need to be able to say like they're being jerks today. I mean, it is what it is. And so I think it's parenting in general is hard. And
Yeah.
so anybody giving her a hard time just really, I don't know, it upsets me to see her not receiving the support
Mhm.
that I think they
Yeah.
were trying to get us to convey in this episode.
Exactly. And you have to look at the time frame too. They left in the morning when AJ found her. The kids were already asleep and it was night.
All day.
Just her all day long. I defy anyone to say, "Oh yeah, I totally have an easy time doing this."
Yeah.
Because if you say that, you're a
And
liar.
also, some kids are easier. Some kids will just eat and sleep and it's cool. Like that's all they're gonna.
Not typically preemies though.
And that's what the difference, like they're preemies. And so like
And there's
they,
two.
yes.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know. It's just, I felt so sorry for her in this episode.
Mhm. I did cry along with her at that final
I
scene.
did too.
Oh yeah.
That was super. I mean, I don't even, when I had my first daughter, she just cried all the time. And I was highly, highly, highly anemic. And so my emotions are all over the place. And I remember my husband had to take her he had to get up in the morning. It was like 4 a.m. He had to get up and be to work at 7, but he took her from me and just held her in the bathroom while she cried so that I could just have a moment.
Yeah.
Padma didn't get to have any moments.
None.
Nothing.
Because also, I mean, being two of them, like if you got one calm down, it's probably the other one's probably upset. So like,
Mhm.
there's no middle ground,
Yeah.
like there's no time to like breathe during that. I don't know. It was
Yeah.
hard to watch.
And the other thing with that doctor too is those kids are screaming in the background. Like, can you
Yeah.
not hear that in her?
Right?
And I mean, like, cool. Yes, it is okay for the babies to cry, but obviously she was in distress. Like, I wasn't even worried about the babies at the moment. The babies are fine just crying.
Yeah.
Like, you can let them
Mhm.
cry for some, it's fine. But like, she's in distress. Like, comfort her. Like, I
Mhm.
don't understand. And then why is that not a trigger to you as the doctor that there might be some postpartum like depression stuff going on when like us who are not medical professionals at all, we've just experienced stuff on our own.
Yeah.
Like we recognize that. I mean, luckily my doctor, as soon as I mentioned some of the things that I had, was immediately like, do you think you might need,
Mhm.
something to help you get through this? And
For sure.
thankfully, like that's what did,
Yeah.
It was rough.
Another thing I didn't like about this episode was Leela going to Devin about having kids
Mhm.
when she's
I was really irritated with
still
that too.
undecided during the conversation. Why even
Yeah.
bring it up?
I think she's not that undecided anymore. I think she wants them, which to me actually it made me laugh because in my head I'm thinking, of course, it's because the woman has now been around the babies and now wants them. And the man that's now had to take care of them, he's like, nah, I think I'm cool with like what we got going
Right.
on. I just thought I found it to be an amusing reaction to the situation.
Mhm.
Like Devin's like, no, I really kind of like my alone time here.
I do also think that Devin realized that she was only saying this because it's newborn phase and she's getting the happy sunny parts. And I think he's realizing you don't actually want kids, and I'm not going to buy into that.
Yeah. I think this will, from that conversation,
I hope so.
think Leela is changing her mind, and I think we will see them have a family too.
I really hope so because I think Devin deserves that, and I want to see Devin as a dad.
Yeah. And I think Leela could too, because I mean, that whole
Mhm.
storyline confused me anyways, because the Leela that we knew prior to that, I was like, really? Like, you're not, like, I would have seen you as maternal and I would have
Mhm.
seen you as like wanting to do this. So I
Yeah.
hope that's where we're going.
Me too. And I think we'll watch them grow and we'll watch them continue to get better. And I think that we'll continue to watch Padme get support. And I
Mhm.
mean, there's other things that are coming up soon too, and relationships that we're going to see grow and change, and it'll be good.
Yeah.
So I think one of the relationships we're supposed to see alter and change is Belle and Kit, and we didn't really get that in the preview. We just read that it was supposed to be episode 6, so we're guessing maybe Belle has a suit jacket on, maybe they're preparing for it. I don't know, but it's mostly about a liver transplant and a little girl. And I feel like I just watched something like this on Med. But the mom is the match to donate a liver, and of course, if they do it, she's gonna die. And I think that's such a hard position to be in. I mean, if you do this and you die, your child goes up without a mother. If you don't do it, then your child dies. It's just
I
It's
think
a
I'm still gonna
no-win
do it.
situation. Oh, I would 100%.
I mean, when
But
that
that kid
preview,
is
they were
gonna-
like, yeah, but if that preview went there, like, oh, you know, this could kill you. I don't really care.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, if my kid needs my liver to live, then let's just do it. Like, you don't
Mhm.
have to explain these risks to me. Like, I'm willing to kind of risk whatever.
Yeah. I
Just
mean,
have-
I agree with that. It's a hard position for that kid too,
Absolutely.
because that kid's gonna have to grow up realizing I'm the reason my mother is dead. I'm
Yeah.
the reason my father's dead. So that's what I mean. It's just a no-win situation. I mean, the
Yeah.
parents, if you're a decent parent, you're gonna do what it takes to save your kid, but then your kid is gonna grow up. And I mean,
Yeah.
of course, she might not die. Maybe the resident will pull a miracle like it usually does. And
I hope so. Yeah, it's usually
Mm.
much more happy endings. Like,
yes. And so I genuinely hope, although this last episode the guy died, so I don't know. I don't want this mother and daughter to die. Certainly not on an episode that's supposed to be focusing on Belle and Kit's wedding.
yeah. Well, we just had a death with a patient, so we probably won't have one this next
Yeah,
episode.
we should be good. We're solid. We're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think it's gonna bring a lot of drama. And I think we're gonna see, obviously AJ's a surgeon, but we're gonna see maybe Devin will get in there with whatever the issue is with them to do some research. Maybe it'll be something that he can solve with his new research money. And
Mhm.
I don't Layla, is she or Leela? I keep calling her Layla because I know someone named Layla. But Leela, she's a neurosurgeon, right? Or did she choose, which one did she go with? I don't remember. Did she choose neurosurgery or did she choose cardiothoracic?
Did she choose either one of them? I don't.
I don't
This
think
is
she even
confusing.
chose, did she?
I thought she did. I
I-
thought she was forced to choose at the end of last season.
Well, I know I don't think it's neurosurgery, but I also don't know if it's cardio because, like, she was
She
doing,
was working under Bell, so maybe it's
she was working on her belt, and
general
then
surgery.
she did something. What'd she do for Nolan the other day? I don't feel like that was. It wasn't cardio. It wasn't cardio related because,
You
AJ
guys watch
wasn't
this show.
huh?
You know, all I can remember about that scene is that Nolan wants a bidet. I don't remember.
I know, right?
Remember the surgery.
But if it was like because usually cardio and neuro, like if you're doing that, like, I mean, I would think that Nolan is more of general surgery.
think
I know
he
he's
is.
trauma, but like, I think it's like, it would have to be general surgery because usually cardio or neuro, they always bring in the specialist if
Mhm.
like those are involved.
And I mean, cardio and neuro
This
can
comes
do any
strictly from my
surgery,
Grey's
but that's just
Anatomy.
where they're better. That's just where they specialize. I think they're still capable
Yeah.
to do other surgeries, but so maybe this will be an opportunity to see our team work together.
Yeah.
It's hard because we're only seeing the one case, but you want to see all your people. So I don't know if we're going to get multiple cases or I don't know how it'll play out, but it'll be interesting to see. Hopefully we do get that wedding soon because it's time
Yeah.
already.
It is.
This
Well,
has
the
been,
episode is titled For Better or Worse, so
oh man, if one of them
Should
dies
be
at
either
Kit
way.
Bell's wedding day, that's gonna be terrible. Maybe that's our guarantee. They're not gonna kill someone on Kit and Bell's wedding day. So that's our guarantee right there, right?
This isn't Grey's Anatomy. We won't do crazy stuff like that. Okay.
So I think that's about it for the residents. Stay tuned for next week. It is on an 8/7 Central on Tuesday nights on Fox. I always forget it's at 7 Central. I always go to turn on at 8. Like, oh, crap, I've missed the whole thing. So it's at 8/7 Central. For those of you who are confused about what time it's on, you can watch our Fox 9 every Sunday. We're talking 911 and the resident. Tuesdays, we're putting out our One Chicago episode, so you can be prepared for Wednesday's Chicago night. And Wednesdays, you can get our ABC episode, which is Grey's Anatomy, and Station 19 to be prepared for Thursday's Grey's Night. Check out our Facebook group, The Resident Chastain Family Fan Club, and 911 Family Fan Club. Talk about a whole lot of things about the show, characters, the actors. I don't know why I say characters that way, but it is what it is now. So come over there, start a conversation with us. Let us know what you think. Seriously, we want to know what you think. We want to know your ideas about the show, about what you want to see on our podcast. We are fans exactly like you, just wanting to talk about the show. So let us know what you think. Let us know what you want to hear from us. And on that note, we'll see you in a couple of days. Bye, guys.
Bye. Loving our content? Subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to share our podcast with your family and friends. We want to continue the conversation with you. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok under Fandom Family Chats, or one of our ever-growing Facebook groups by searching Family Fan Club. We've also launched a website, familyfanclub2021@wixsite.com. You can email us there and keep checking it for announcements and merch coming soon. And of course, be sure to tune in every week for new episodes discussing all your favorite shows.